I'm going to say it again. Critical race theory makes you miserable. It is a different religion that has no joy. It's a different religion that brings no peace of mind. Everybody and anybody can be your enemy when you embrace critical race theory. All right, this is Allie. We've talked about her before. She was on the open mic or past the mic discussion we did some time ago. Listen to what happened to her and her children on the playground.
So 2 years ago, my family moved from Missouri to the south side of Chicago in order to get away from racist white people. So
Let me stop real quick. I find it interesting. Quite often, many people who are in these spaces tend to be in mixed marriages. Her husband is white. Her children are beautiful children, black and white children. I just think that's interesting.
we went from predominantly white context to all black everything. Like, I rarely interact with white people, like, at all.
So she moved from Missouri to South Side Chicago. South Side Chicago is very black. She did not want to interact with white people. She does not interact with white people. Now, I just want to ask you a question. Do you think that type of mindset being, and she seems like somebody that's probably taught this and discipled this and catechized this to her children. Do you think that this would play a role at all in the way her children interact with other children? Just ask yourself. I'm going to back it up. I want you to watch it and just ask yourself, do you think that her attitude, the way that her demeanor has spread to her children? Just a little back up. Let's go.
The south side of Chicago in order to get away from racist white people. So we went from predominantly white context to all black everything. Like, I rarely interact with white people, like, at all. So whenever I'm around white people now, I see racism much more acutely than I did back in the day.
All right. So her spidey sense is tingling. She finds, of course, racism everywhere now. Interesting. So why do you think that is? Do you think that's because she maybe possibly brings a bias to the discussion, aka I'm going to go hang out with Sally and Tommy. I'm going to look at the way they do something because they are of less melanin. Do you think that that's maybe possible? Do you think that it's possible that you might be bringing the quote unquote racism into the discussion because you just clearly said that you don't ever hang out with white people anymore and you moved to Chicago in order to be away from white people? I just want to propose an idea. Do you leave room for the idea that you, Allie, might be the problem?
I was at an activity with one of my kids today, and I was able to observe just how much white kids are socialized into white supremacy.
Okay, so now white kids are socialized into white supremacy. Whoa there. Okay, so I'm expecting we should see some pretty egregious white supremacyism or white supremacist, whatever. Let's see.
So in two separate instances, I watched white kids treat black kids like they were invisible.
Hey, wait, hold on. Wait. Stop for a second. I just realized something. I just watched this video again and I realized something. I don't believe that this actually happened to her children. I made the mistake and thought that she was referencing her children, but she doesn't say that. She says she saw two separate instances where black children were mistreated by white children or whatever, white supremacy. But I don't believe this was actually her children. Jason, where are you going with that? I've mentioned this before. Critical race theory makes you offended for everybody. You get offended for someone else. So if this happened to other children or children that were not her own, so she doesn't know little Tyrone, she doesn't know little Tommy, she doesn't know little Sally, she doesn't know the other little child, then you know what? There's a whole bunch of context that she doesn't understand. There's a reason. There might be a reason why Tommy's climbing all over Tyrone. There might be a reason why. You don't know that, Allie, and nor do I. And I don't believe that this story played out exactly like she said it played out. You know, the little two white girls just ignored the other black girl. You don't know why they ignored her. You don't know anything now. If this wasn't her own children, where she could reference and say, well, little Pamela, why did little Sally and little Patty ignore you? I mean, otherwise, she's literally just taking on an offense of somebody she doesn't even know. I didn't realize it initially. And when I went back and watched it again, I had to record that. So I appreciate it. Get back to the video.
So in two separate instances, I watched white kids treat black kids like they were invisible.
So treating a black kid like they're invisible is white supremacy. Okay. All right. So, but treating a white person like they're invisible, is that black supremacy? What supremacy is it if you treat a white person or another people group like they're invisible? What is that? Or is it only white supremacy? I don't know the rules to intergalactic Calvin ball.
In the first incident, a white kid literally crawled all over this black kid trying to see what he was doing on a mobile device.
So children crawling over other children, or children being not recognizing space, is white supremacy? I thought it was children. I didn't know that it was a white kid only thing. Who knew? Who knew when my brothers and my sister and I would like fight over one another to do something, we were exemplifying white supremacy? Who knew that? Who knew it? Wow.
No respect for his bodily autonomy at all whatsoever. In the second incident, I watched two little white girls treat a little black girl like she didn't exist. They would look at one another, they were talking, they would look at one another, she would say something, they would glance, and then they would look back at one another and just keep talking.
So by just ignoring, again, we know nothing of the context of this, of what was happening. Nothing whatsoever. Maybe the girls were talking about something that they did at school because they were school friends, and the other little black girl was not speaking of something that they were talking about. Just maybe they were doing something else. Do you make room for the fact that kids interact with one another differently, and kids, that it doesn't have to be evil and vile and wicked, they just interact with people? Do you make room for that, Allie, at all? Is that even a possibility in your mindset that, oh, that's just kids? Like, kids crawl over each other, kids fight and tussle over toys, and kids just ignore one another, kids roughhouse with one another, kids run their mouths and talk a lot. Do you make room for the fact that that is just human interaction, not racism or white supremacy or whatever flavor du jour you're calling it this week? Do you make room for that at all?
It was really hard to watch. And I know that somebody's going to hop in the comments and say, well, kids will be kids. This is how kids act.
No, that is true. I'm gonna back it up because she's addressing me. I'm gonna back this up because she's addressing me. But that is how kids behave. Like, let's go.
And I know that somebody's going to hop in the comments and say, well, kids will be kids. This is how kids act. This ain't it. In both instances, it was clear that these white kids did not see these black kids as full.
So white kids did not see black kids as, she's going to say, full human beings and worthy of dignity. That's what she's going to say. So down in the comment section, let me know, have you ever had your brother or sister or your children mistreat one another? Did you ever go to the extent of believing that they didn't see the other one as a full human being and worthy of dignity? Drop down in the comment section below. Let me know. Maybe I'm missing it. I just think it's children. Children do children-y things. I don't understand why it has to be more than that.
Human beings and worthy of dignity and respect. Years ago.
So in Allie's mind, children are, if a child mistreats another child, they don't see the other one as a full human worthy of dignity and respect. Now, I just have to ask the question, does that go the other way? If the little Sally and the little Tommy came to the south side of Chicago and was hanging out with you, would, if anything popped off or went wrong, would you also say that the black children did not see the white child or the white children or the Latino children or whomever as full human beings worthy of dignity and respect? Does it go both ways, Allie? Help me understand how this game is played, because I don't understand. I don't understand it. I don't look at it. I don't look at the situation like you do. Maybe I don't understand. Maybe I'm not bright enough and wise enough. But what you're saying is in error. Again, you keep doing this and you keep saying these type of things, Allie. And the problem is, you are married to a white man. You're married to a man that you are vilifying his ethnicity or his ethnic group or whatever you want to call it. You want to call his race. You're vilifying his race. You clearly liked him enough to marry the man, but now all white people are fill in the blank, something negative. How does that even work? I'd love to know what that does for your Thanksgiving dinners. That's a mess. Anyway, thanks so much. Grace and peace.